nuisance lele. Nuisance lele.
If it is not for that coward, number one, there will never be anything called Bokwari, talk less of anything called Tifnumbu. But he was a man that had all of the goodwill, squandered it, then cowardly negotiated for himself, his wife, not even his family, so to say, to be left out of anything that APC was planning for the rest of Nigeria. Today, he said something then that his ambition, no Nigerian's life is worth his ambition, meaning he wouldn't want to challenge the APC at the time, despite all of the information at his disposal. Goodluck Egbere Jolantan was very much aware of the plots, the evil plots of APC towards Nigeria. As the president of Nigeria, Jonathan knew the terrorism relation of APC, the terrorism they were bringing upon Nigeria. He knew. But he said his ambition, or his ambition is not worth the life of anyone. Today, more than 70,000 Nigerians have been killed by these terrorists. More than 10 million Nigerians have been displaced. And guess what? Over 150 million Nigerians have been dipped into an everlasting generational poverty. But he's enjoying his retirement, you will say. He's flying about all over Africa, conducting as an election observer. And he's enjoying his peace, you say. He's one of those who first embraced Tifnumbu, the man that rigged an election that today Nigeria is bleeding. He's one of them. He's parading himself as elder statesman. As long as they don't go touch his own loot and that of his wife, Nigeria can burn. And the like of him can walk about and be saying, "Oh, Jonathan, oh, we miss you." Anyway, there is this saying in the league of all these criminal lawyers as well. Remember another one called Olisa Agbako-Aba, another one, another sandusty, sandpaper. He is currently championing a campaign. In fact, I don't know if he's involved in the legal case before the Supreme Court of Nigeria. They are challenging the legality of the EFCC. They say EFCC is illegal, according to Agbako-Aba.
Is whether the National Assembly can, merely because it's the National.
Remember, I call him Agbako-Aba. And if you listen to him, he kind of talks like that of a Renomokri. Or is it just me? The way he talks is like he's talking like a Renomokri.
Is whether the National Assembly can, merely because it's the National Assembly, create any monster. It can't. It's limited to the powers given to it, bestowed on it by the Constitution. Now, my point is that the National Assembly does not have power for some of the reasons you've given, but some of the reasons I have, and I have 10 of them, which I would not like to discuss, given the fact that the matter is in the Supreme Court. So I won't be accused of prejudging a matter that is before the court. But I think my dear friend Femi Falana has provided the perfect answer. By the way, the reason I went to the National Assembly is to say to them, you created this institution. So maybe it's time you also reviewed whether what you created is valid. And let me also do a bit of history on the National Assembly's creation of the EFCC. It was at a time that President Obasanjo was struggling very hard to get the Paris and London clubs right off our debts. And the Paris and London club said to Nigeria, well, you don't belong to the FATF, the Financial Action Task Force. And not to belong to it would hamper your request for, a loan review. So quickly, the EFCC Act is the fastest legislation ever passed in Nigeria in 2 days. I suspect very strongly that in the course of passing this legislation so fast, a lot of mistakes were made. And one of the mistakes is that the National Assembly exceeded its authority under Section 4 of the Constitution, which imbues it with legislative powers. It exceeded its authority by several ways. Anyone who reads the Act will actually think that EFCC is the Nigerian police force, because that's what it does. So the one point that can be made is, could we have two police forces when the EFCC describes itself in the Act as a police force? But we know that there's only one police force in Nigeria, and that is the...
Then the senior advocate of nuisance, Agbako-Aba, was one of those who told you that and Abuja, you remember last year, they were those interpreting the Nigeria Constitution, the one that said that you must win 2/3 of the 36 states, and Abuja. If nobody didn't win Abuja. But they are like, no, it's inconsequential. Abuja is, are you saying that Abuja is more important than other states? Are you saying, yeah, they are the ones? What that simply means was that if you can't have that place, then the election is inconclusive. So what you would do is that you would have to go for a rerun. A rerun election means this time around, it's now going to be counted as the highest number of votes. They were the lawyers, Femi Falana too. They were the ones interpreting and Abuja. They were those who kind of gave them the leverage to say, if nobody didn't have to win Abuja, now they've set the precedents now. Because they said that those who crafted your criminal law in Nigeria, they never for once believed that an Igbo man will come and win an election and then, it will come win Abuja. How you want to do an Igbo man? That is not part of a major political parties. But Peter Obi went there and kind of demystified all of that. So they had to come together, went on TV. So yeah, he's talking about the EFCC now, that the act that put the EFCC together, because that's what they do. They go and look for the lacuna in anything. Because right now, about 14 states, they are at the Supreme Court of Nigeria challenging the establishment of EFCC. Because according to them, they said there is a part of that EFCC Act that says every state must sign to approve, as like they must sign that they are part of the act that established EFCC. And these are the states where their governors supposedly should actually have been arrested, if not for immunity. Or their past governors are currently standing trial for corruption. So they are now at the Supreme Court and say, okay, if all of us that didn't sign and be part of that, can EFCC come and investigate us? Can EFCC arrest anybody in our state? Meanwhile, the point here is that EFCC is to go after every money that the federal government gives anyone. If the federal government shares money to the state and local governments, they have the right to go after that money and check how that money is spent. But they are fighting it and saying, since they didn't sign and be part of the bodies or the parties that signed the EFCC Act, EFCC cannot investigate them. Guess the state that is leading the charge. Kogi State, Ogun State, Lagos State, Anambra, Niger, Katsina, Kaduna, Kano, Bayelsa, Rivers. About 14 states, they are challenging the EFCC Act. And I bet you, Agbako-Aba possibly is one of the lawyers arguing it out in the... That's why he has gone to the National Assembly to challenge it, to go and speak to the senators and all of them. He's on TV doing that now, explaining to people that EFCC is illegal. It shouldn't even exist. They are looking for the lacuna, okay, so that they can protect the looters, the state governors. In Abia state of Alexoti, they want to buy cars. They want to renovate government houses with billions of naira. In Bayelsa, they want to use 700 million naira to buy 50 torchlights. You know those, flashlights. Hey, stop there. And walkie-talkie. 100 walkie-talkies. And 50 searchlights for 700 million. They want to use 14.9 billion naira to renovate government house in Akwa Ibom. They want to use 4-point-something billion naira to renovate government house in Imo State. All this money, they are money that they will deduct from the federal allocation and all of that. Sometimes they will borrow the money. 700 million naira to buy torchlights, torchlights for 700 million naira. They want to buy cars. All those state governors, bunch of criminals, but they have lawyers that will help them make sure that EFCC will not come after them. That is why I was like, imagine Sowore is your president.
My name is Sowore. I'm the presidential candidate of the African Action Congress. And I'm going to be the president of Nigeria come after February 2023. So you all better be careful. I want to say here, and it's very important to me, that I observed one of the most peaceful elections in Nigeria in 1993. And we allowed that election to stand. We will not be signing a peace agreement today. Because that you are signing a peace agreement in Nigeria shows that elections have become war in Nigeria. This is the only country in the world where you sign a peace agreement during an election season as if we are at war. But that is what our elders did to Nigeria. And I think next time we should sign a peace agreement with the elders who are instigating violence in this country, or have them sign peace agreements between themselves. Because peace is not breached by poor people. Poor people suffer the consequences of violence. When you look at elections, the people that suffer the most are those poor women and men. And when there's a breakdown in law and order in Nigeria, every rich man, politically connected, gets enough police protection, and they're able to get on the jet and leave Nigeria at the slightest provocation. This is where we are. And I should also say that some of the people that instigators of violence during the election are not in this hall. They are the vassal representatives of some of the men and women in this hall. They are state governors. In particular, you need to get them to sign the peace accord. There are some of them as the most violent people in Nigeria. They demonstrated it in Kogi State. A woman was burnt alive in her house. Until today, the killers of those women, or that woman, have not been fished out in Nigeria. In Kano, there is someone campaigning that if they don't win the election, they will kill everybody in Kano. In Borno State, it's the same thing. You go to Lagos, where the APC holds sway, you cannot paste a poster if it's not Bola Ahmed Asiwaju's poster in Lagos. I just came back from Lagos. They have a team that tears anybody's poster that is not their candidate's poster. You cannot even pay for your poster or banner to be hosted in Lagos. They have a bureaucracy in place that makes it impossible for you to do. How can there be peace in a country where there's no justice? We keep lying to ourselves all the time. I also want to say that for the rest of us, as you have treated us today, because we don't have resources and we don't have powerful connections, we don't have access to state resources. Most of the other candidates use and abuse state resources. They have governors who just dip their hands into their state treasury and use them to fund their candidate activities, and nobody is challenging them. Once in a while, when they want to tickle our fancy, the EFCC comes around to play at the playground of the political parties. Two political parties are particularly very notorious for this. They buy votes, both at their primaries and in the final election. And how do you compete with these people? If elections are supposed to be about justice and bringing about great leadership and bringing about peace and development, how could great people win elections in a country where terrible people control all the resources of your country? That's another issue for another day. The other part is the media. And I should say this because I'm a media practitioner too, that they have shut several of us out. Also, I will accuse the media of Asiwaju. They have never interviewed me in this election. That is the TVC News. They have blacklisted some of us, but they are supposed to be a public media that should address, that should attend to everybody. And the last thing I will say are security agencies. Just like someone mentioned, the security agencies have allegiance and loyalty to just a few people. That's the truth. I was almost run out of the road in Ibadan just yesterday because Atiku was in Ibadan to campaign. I was also there to campaign, but I had one car. Atiku had over 40. And I had no police. Atiku had over 500 policemen attached to him. I sent a letter to the police today to provide me police protection. I'm going to Benue tomorrow. They said I should drop the thing on Monday. How do I get police on Monday when I'm going to Benue tomorrow? I submitted to my friend who represented the IG. I will just say finally that nobody should lose hope in this hall, especially those of us who are the receiving end of the injustices in this country. One day the table will turn. Thank you very much. I'm the presidential candidate.
Wọ́n sọ̀rọ̀ ọ̀rọ̀ epo àwọn á di 200 á di 5. Ẹ fọkàn balẹ̀, a máa gbé wálẹ̀.
Ẹ lọ fọkàn balẹ̀, ẹ lọ fọkàn balẹ̀.
Ẹ lọ fọkàn balẹ̀ o. So imagine if Sowore is your president. Just imagine. I was with my friend today, and we were talking about how hopeless Nigeria is. And I was like, even if anybody comes in and try to change things, how things are being done, Nigeria is a place where, yes, some people will run away. But it's so terrible that the person next to you, the person that is so next to you will be your vice, that you are doing things together, that person will wait for you. If you decide to hand over power to him, he will wait for you to say goodbye, bye-bye, see you later, and he can turn everything all around. And he mentioned Sowore. He said, no, we are talking about institutions, powerful institutions that will make it impossible for individuals to change what has been changed. You get what I mean? I was like, I almost agree with him, but I was like, Baba, we are talking about Nigeria, please. Well, we didn't have a conclusion on that, right? It is an unreal place that some of us believe that it should be what? It should be cut to size, segmented, make everybody day in day. Here, where this part won't be able to use their bad behavior to influence this part, and this part will not kind of use their own bad influence to influence their part, as Nigeria is known and all that.
Officer of the law, officer of the law, officer of the law. What on, sir? I'm a man get change. This is 200. This is 300. 200. How much do you get? 1,000 I give you now. How much do you get? 200. 400. 500. 600. 700. 800. No. I go settle plenty na just I dey go. I beg. Now the one where they cause quarrel between me and una be that. No. I dey serious. I beg no vex. I dey very. I beg no vex. No vex. Officer of the law.
Officer. I get many people to say to I beg, give me my change. I beg, officer, I beg. Nigeria. And irredeemable. Oh, leave that one. Do you know that there is a case currently against the coastal road that Ifnumbu and Devulumayi awarded last year? Remember that from the blues, Ifnumbu said he is doing a coastal road from Lagos to Calabar, 700-kilometer coastal road. There was no bidding. There is no competition from any other companies. They said it's going to be a PPP, public-private partnership, which means a company is coming to build the road. Government is just going to clear the way for them. So this company already have the money to build the road, and they are going to put toll gates so that they can recoup their money. But when Tifnumbu decided to award it, he gave it to his friend, Gilbert Shaguri, for 15 trillion naira, equivalent of a $12 billion. There was no budgetary allocation for it, or budgetary provision for it. There was no proper bidding. There was no tender. What they usually do is that such projects, they will put it on the tender board for anybody interested. Then you put in your bid and say, you know what, we will build this road for 20 trillion. Our money. We'll go and borrow money to build it. Okay? But we are going to run it for 15 years to raise our money. Oh, no, we will build it for 14 trillion. And we are not doing 20 years. We'll do it for 10 years to recoup our money. That's what is called bidding. Nigeria was not supposed to pay a dime. But Tifnumbu came in. He awarded it. No bidding, no nothing. No provision in the budget, no money. To say at this 2024, we are going to spend 5 trillion naira on coastal road. We are going to spend 10 trillion naira on other road. Nothing. He just announced it. High-tech construction of Gilbert Shaguri, of Shaguri, a wanted terror sponsor, a wanted, you know that Shaguri is a wanted fraudster too. Yeah, he's an international criminal. Along. That's how I don't. That's why he's Tifnumbu's confidant. The Ministry of Works in Nigeria, led by Devulumayi, awarded the contract straight up and added 1.1 trillion naira cash and gave it to Shaguri. The next thing, they went straight to Lagos and started demolishing people's properties and claiming people's land. You know the story. So one lawyer now went to court. One lawyer now used the Freedom of Information Act to demand for the details. Give us the details of this, your coastal road. How you arrived at awarding it. How much is it that this road is going to cost? Where and where is it going to pass? Blah, blah, details. Devulumayi denied that information. You are using the public fund to build this project. It's a public project now. It's not even PPP. This is Nigeria want to fund this now. And Nigerians deserve to know the details of it. It should be public. No, it can't be public. Because that is how Tifnumbu run Lagos, and they are running Lagos. You just hear that they've awarded the contract to this and that. No bidding, no nothing. Nothing public. Everything shredded in secrecy. Shebi una talk say in build Lagos, mean come build Nigeria. So that's what they are doing. They went and used Lagos state name to borrow 50 billion naira. 50 billion naira to start a mass transit project called BRT, Bus Rapid Transport. It's called Bus Rapid Transport. Lagos State government projects. They use Lagos State's name to borrow 50 billion naira. Today, BRT is not owned by Lagos. It is owned by Primero, a private company, owned by somebody related to Tifnumbu.